Hello guys, welcome to a little tea time with a healing practitioner. Today I'm going to talk about perceiving beyond 3D, perceiving beyond the physical. And I'm going to cover various topics, but mostly I'm going to talk about what are the senses that we can use to do that. What is the process, like how does it work? How to make sure our senses are accurate, and how to develop our senses. As an introduction, I would like to mention the fact that I'm going to assume that we agree that there is something to perceive beyond 3D reality. So we're going to agree about a certain model of reality, and that is totally fine if it's not the case. I will talk more about models of reality in another video. But if you think that is for sure a hard no, that there's only physical matter, then save yourself some time and don't watch this video. If you think that it's a possibility, or if you think, of course, there is something else than 3D reality, then this may be of interest to you. For now, let's consider the possibility that everything is made of energy. Your shirt, your emotion, your thoughts, your memory, everything. Some of this energy is quite slow and dense and constitutes physical reality. Some of it is faster, it moves at higher frequencies, and so it exists on a more subtle plane. And we are going to discuss how to perceive this faster energy that is on other planes. So if we take the example of a person, what are we going to perceive? Well, we said everything is made of energy, so the personality of a person is also made of energy. In the field, in the consciousness associated with a person, we will find their thoughts, their beliefs, their emotions about themselves, but also information about their relations, their patterns, all kind of things, their memories, information about their history, and all of that can be perceived through various senses. Let's start with the senses we can use. Well, to perceive in the physical reality, we have organs, we have physical organs, we have eyes, nose, tongue, ears, skin, sensory organs in the flesh. Well, to perceive in the energetical, we use our energy organs, which are our chakras, our energy centers. So chakras have many functions. Some are psychological, some are simply to metabolize energy in the field, so just to be alive, but also to metabolize consciousness, so there's also a psychological component to that. And one of the many functions that they have is to perceive. So the 7 main chakras are each associated with a sense. So the 7th chakra, the crown chakra, the one that is at the top of your head, is associated with direct knowing. So that's when suddenly you just know something and you just understand a whole concept or the whole perspective on something. Then you have the 6th chakra, the third eye is associated with sight, and you can notice if you are on YouTube and you see the image that both the front and the back aspect of the chakra are involved in perceiving. And when you use this sense, you will be able to see colors, shape. Sometimes you can see geometrical patterns, and this kind of thing. Then with the fifth chakra, you can hear, smell, or taste. So if you are practicing with someone and you are using your fifth chakra, let's say, you are going to hear, smell, or taste the information. So that means that if you are tuning into something in particular, like one area of their body, you may start hearing a pitch, you may start hearing some sound or some music. It may also be voices or words that are coming to you, and that will give you information about what is going on in this area. If it's it can also be smell or taste, and for instance, it could be a very delightful perfume on an area that is really healthy and blossoming with beautiful energy. Or it could be also the taste of a product, like if the person has been had a surgery and there's still some things in her system or their system. You may have a taste of anesthetic products. If you are using your fourth chakra, you will feel the presence of love, which is a great sense to use. With your third chakra, you will have the sense of intuition. Intuition is different from direct knowing in the sense that it's not a complete knowing of something, it's more a vague idea. Like you may have a sense that something bad happened somewhere, or you may sense a presence. So it's less precise, it's a little bit more blurry, and usually it's a little bit incomplete by itself. I'm giving examples all the time, reading another person's field, but just because it's what I do when I practice healing. But of course you can use all of your senses to read something else, to read a situation or something like that. And with your second chakra, you will have the sense of feelings, and that's the emotions. So you will be able to, if you are scanning someone, you may sense the emotions that are present in their field, even if they are not aware of themselves, or even if they are not experiencing them in the moment. And at last, through your first chakra, you will experience energy with your kinesthetic sense. So you will experience energy as if you were touching it. You may feel warmth, coldness, pulsations, tinglings. You may even feel like weight, like something is heavy or light or flowy. You may also sense that something is a little bit painful, like if you put your hand above it, then you may feel some pain in your own body. From this very brief and little overview, I think that most of you will realize that you are already perceiving energy. You are already using your senses. I'm sure you have felt how people were feeling before, maybe not even being in the same room, in the same country. I'm sure you had a moment where your intuition kicked in and really helped you to avoid a big mistake or something that would have been potentially dangerous. And probably, other senses too, in particular, like knowing something without really knowing actually how do I know that? I don't know, I'm just so sure about it, like there's not a single doubt. These kind of things as you using your senses, your energy senses. And so I just wanted to give you this overview to explain, maybe help you become more aware of it when it happens, so that you don't necessarily dismiss it. There may be some truth here. And the other thing that I wanted to share through this little presentation is that everybody has the ability to perceive beyond the physical. Everybody has an energy system, chakras, like you have all the organs. Of course, for some people it may be easier than others, and of course, you may be more comfortable with certain senses depending on your history and characterology, but know that all of this is potentially available to you. To receive an information through a chakra, you need a few things to happen. You need, first of all, your chakra to be open. That means your chakra is turning in a clockwise direction, creating a vortex of energy that is taking the energy from outside, from the universal energy field, and taking it inside of your field. That is the first thing. Then you need the amount of energy to be enough to go through the seal of the chakra to create perception. I will keep it simple and just keep it at that for now. But that's the two things you need. You need your chakra to be open and you need a big flow of energy to come in. That's why some people have not necessarily, their senses are not necessarily active all the time, but they are active when they are under a lot of pressure and there's a lot of energy in the system. There's a need for that. Or also when somebody is meditating and there's an influx of energy, or when they are giving a healing, well, there's also a big influx of energy. And for some people who are at a certain level of their evolution, they are always in such a big flux of energy that their senses may be open all the time. Something that is important to notice is that if a chakra is closed, meaning if a chakra is turning counterclockwise, that's the meaning of a chakra being closed. It's turning, but in the direction that instead of taking in energy, it's putting out energy. It's putting energy from inside your field out in the environment. When you have a chakra that is closed with a lot of energy going out, you may be perceiving, but what you are perceiving is what you are putting out in the world. That is the translation of projection. For instance, you may be angry with someone for a reason without realizing it, and that is important. It is not a conscious process, but let's say you are uncomfortable with the emotion of anger and you don't like to allow yourself to feel it. You may be under the impression that this particular person is being hostile against you and has some kind of resentment or is perhaps a little bit angry at you. And perhaps this person is not at all, but you are putting out your feeling that you are not in that moment able to own. You are putting it out on this person and then perceiving it as if it was theirs. That's why it's very important to really do your own internal work. There are two main things. First, it's about your preparation. So before tuning in, before using your senses, always work on grounding yourself. The first thing is to ground yourself in your body, and then to use a technique of your choice to also ground from an energetic perspective, grounding your field. Another point is to really align with your intention to perceive the truth. And you can just state it at the beginning. Your intention is very powerful and really matters. And then, as part of your preparation, you would need to do an exercise to open your chakras, to open all of the 7 chakras, to make sure that you are receiving enough energy to perceive. Except for your prep, another way to make sure that your perceptions are accurate is to check with more than one sense. Let's say you are very visual, you are with this person and you see a very bright color in the aura. If you want to see if this information is correct, you might use, let's say, your sense of feelings to check the same area and see, okay, what's here? And maybe you are feeling, ooh, a very pleasant feeling that match the color, that match the frequency that you are seeing. You can also use your kinesthetic sense, and maybe it is very flowy and light and warm. If you have different senses that match, then you have more chances that your perception is accurate. You can have fun practicing reading a friend, family, or pet. You can have fun practicing reading cards, just hiding elements and tapping into your senses after doing a little prep to develop and to see where you are, to see what are the senses that you prefer. Usually people have one or two senses that are more available to them, and then it's a practice to develop the others. Another way to improve your perceptions is to do your inner healing work. Why? Because we talked about the fact that you perceive through your chakras. The more your chakras are open, the more they can receive energy, the more they can metabolize consciousness, the more they can perceive. So your chakras are not closed out of the blue, or they are sometimes a little bit open but not fully open, and this does not happen out of the blue. This is a reaction that makes complete sense for your system, that comes from wounds, patterns, an habitual way of running your energy, that is also linked with characterology and the defense system that you prefer. That is something I will cover in another video, but for now just know that the more you develop as a human being, the more you grow as a human being, doing the inner work, the more your chakra will open and the more your perception will open. Perception are just a byproduct of developing consciousness. Alright, I hope you enjoyed and I hope this was helpful to you. If you are interested in this topic or if you have other questions about the energy world, please feel free to reach out. I will be very happy to answer what I can answer. Until the next coffee. Ciao, ciao.